Wisdom, grammar, semantics, and positive thinking. Wow, like that is such a huge subject, and I need like 6 weeks to talk about it. I wrote this talk 4 times, deleting, editing, deleting, editing, deleting, editing. This was insane. I would like another 2 weeks just to write it before I start talking right now. But it's only words, and words are all I have. And that's the subject of our topic here. So I want to start with Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes wrote the book, The Science of Mind. He wrote it in 1927. And the people who wrote it said, can you teach our ministers to teach from this book instead of the Bible? And he said, yeah, I can develop an institute to teach speakers, but he said, whatever you do, don't start another religion. And of course they did. It's just the way humans are. And of course there was turmoil, and there was struggle, and there was breakups, and there was reunions, and you know, I was very involved, and I went to a big session convention, and you know, all I heard was a ton of ego, and you know, the higher up you get in the organization, the bigger your ego, and I was done. And it's tough, you know, because I love the philosophy. Ernest Holmes teaches us to speak to God using positive formed words, to declare I have rather than I want. I am healthy, whole, and complete became a mantra. I am healthy, whole, and complete, not I want to be. There's no point pleading for healing. It only reinforces the state of dis-ease you are trapped in. My last round of studies of the science of mind revealed that I myself was holding myself stuck in physical pain by telling people my story. Oh, I had this injury. I got off the roof, and a week later I couldn't open my hand. I had to use my other hand. And what's going on? And there was all this damage done in here, and I lived with this I'm telling the story again. Look at this. Don't tell your old stories of pain and misery. Tell your new story. Speak of your future. Past is over. Who is that guy that says, live in the present moment, the power of now? Eckhart Tolle. I refused to buy that book. I was just I'd read so many self-help books, and I refused to buy it. One day I walked by in a Walmart store, and there's this book of, this case of discounted books, and right on top, looking me right in the face, Power of Now. I bought it, I read it, I loved it. Great book. So, after I stopped talking about my pain and misery and where it came from, I was guided to a sports doctor. He booked me in, and I got 3 different surgeries, and I started having pain-free days. I'd been to all the practitioners. I'd been the physio, the chiro, the best people I could find in the city. I knew them because of my massage therapy career. I was guided clearly, and they all treated me like I wasn't in any struggle, and I was. They looked at my body and they saw a big, strong, muscular guy. They didn't know how much stronger I was. I lost 4 inches of muscle before I saw them. They didn't know that I could lift up buildings in my mind. There were days I felt that strong. I did some incredible feats of strength that saved me from crushed fingers. I hadn't blocked the front tires of my van, a full-size van, and it was up on a jack, and I had my hand on the jack, and the vehicle started rolling forward. My fingers were going to be between the jack and the door, crushed. I just stepped back and pulled the van back up onto the jack and went and blocked the tires. Surprised myself. And that kept happening in my life, and I wasn't that guy anymore. I'm not that guy anymore. During my journey with my first wife, Treasure, we went to Mist, Oregon for ozone therapy. the inventor needed to find new parts to build a new one, and he couldn't find them, and he was working on it, and our only way, our situation was now or die. And so we went, and he was 84 years old, this naturopath there, and he was a powerful man. He was stronger than most 40-year-olds. He was vibrant. He was running from place to place. He was telling me about his experience he learned from a guy he called Vit Van. And he gave me a tape to listen to, this Vit Van. And you know, I plugged it in, it was a tape, cassettes, right? And it was like a soapbox preacher. And I was like, I can't listen to this. It was the most bizarre southern, strong southern accent. And it was, I don't know what this guy's talking about. And I kind of ignored it. But what the naturopath told me is, you pay attention to your crown and you keep your attention on your crown. And one day, your crown and your root chakra, and that's how he described it, they come together like a clap, like you have audible sound in your own head, and then you're fully connected for the rest of your life. And all you need when you want information is to think about it through your crown, ask your question, and the answers will come. I don't know about instantly, but they will come. And that's how he invented the ozone machine, and that's how he just found the new part and fixed the machine and sent it to my naturopath in Winnipeg. And it's just a wonderful idea. And you know, in Tai Chi, you drop your root chakra and you lift up your head. You think from your crown chakra. They call it suspended from above. And you stand suspended from above in this posture that connects your root and your... I'm like, this guy's amazing. And there's these connections in my life that, you know, like the lights are shining here. I later researched this Vit Van guy and discovered he was deceased and left a dedicated community behind in Nevada, in a property that you could go and you could spend, you had to go and spend time there. You couldn't just go for a weekend and be enlightened, you know. And what he was teaching you is that we're not physical beings, we're energy beings, and he taught you how to tap into that part of yourself and become more aware of it and stronger in your energy system than being trapped in the physical world. Do you know Carlos Castaneda and his books? Same thing. He said we're all luminous eggs and we have tentacles, like he called it our will center, coming out of your belly. You could reach out and accomplish physical feats. He witnessed them in his journey. What was it, 5 years or something with Don Juan and Don Gennaro, I don't know. So what happened to this Vit Van character, he had 5 books, and then he learned about semantics. And oh my God, he said, I have to rewrite all my books because the words you use change so drastically the meaning of what you're trying to say. The right words. What he had to say was, as an example, he said, take a chair. We call it a chair, and we instantly know it's a solid object, that if I sit on it, it'll support my weight up off the ground, and I can rest my legs. But that chair isn't really a chair, it's a configuration of light. It's just as illusionary as everything else. Everything is configurations of light. The whole universe. Remember, God said, let there be light. It's the key thing that God spoke. And that light formed through vibration into planets and stars and us. And what are we? If we're light, we're God. Aspects of. Individual aspects of God. Isn't that beautiful? So he had to rewrite his books and teach us that we're energy beings. I had a massage client in the early 2000s who gave me a copy of a book called Switch Words. How to Use One Word to Get What You Want by Liz Dean. It's a popular guide to using simple words to shift energy, influence the subconscious, manifest the desires like love, health, and success. Based on the law of attraction principles, these switch words act as mantras to turn negative emotions into positive ones. Does that sound brilliant? So the one switch word I remember from reading this book that stuck with me is for staying young. I got this thing about staying young, staying vibrant, staying healthy, staying in your full power. And the switch word is to learn. We keep learning. You're telling every cell in your body, I need to stay young to finish learning this and to act on it. Right? It makes sense to me. So, you know, I never thought to look up the switch word for wealth, for success. But I did look it up last night or the night before, whichever. I've written this so many times. So the key switch words for specific success types. First of all, the most common and effective switch word for general success, wealth, and manifesting goals is together. It serves as a master switch word to align the conscious and subconscious minds for success, often used with phrases like together divine or together divine count to attract money and opportunities. Count. Key switch words for specific types, success in general, together divine for miracles. Business success, together divine count, give. Not take, give. Our businesses today have got it backwards. Career success, find qualified bonus count 2. Does that resonate? Money and wealth, count. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Remember that old song? I'm going to have to start contemplating these words with intent. I've focused on unity, oneness, and connection since learning the science of mind. Maybe it's time to make the switch. Together. Together divine. I am that. I am. Notice where I put the comma. I am that. I am. You know, when I first learned it, it was I am that I am. Who's that guy that turned it around? One of those recent gurus in the last 20 decades. I don't know. I can't remember his name. I am that I am. I am that I am. Together, divine, count, give. Together, divine, find, qualified. I am that I am. Together, divine, bonus, count, 2. Together, divine, count. Together, divine, I am that I am. Together. Let's look at some of these. You wouldn't believe how much I edited to keep it down to that. So when I was in Belize, I was talking to this gentleman. He was a Jehovah's Witness, but he liked the way I talked about my science of mind wording and expressions, and he said, we resonate, we're the same. So I went to the Kingdom Hall, and it was like, holy cow, you're talking to like people who have never heard any of this before. This was so boring for me. And he says, yeah, that's our plan. We got to reach these brand new people here in Belize on this little island. And yeah, so he said, how about if I talk to you about it during our massage sessions? He came for a 90-minute massage. Often, he was a big, heavy, muscular guy with a ton of tension. And I hurt myself pounding on this guy. Oh my God, so much muscle. But the third time he was talking to me, he said, okay, so you know about the Adam and Eve story, yeah. So Adam and Eve, and he starts talking about like they're real people. I said, hey, wait a minute. What? He said, Adam and Eve didn't actually exist. He said, what do you mean? You said you believe in the Bible. I do, but it's parables. And he said, oh, well, we're done talking. To him, they were not parables. Every word was exact truth. And we just heard this guy say, those people who wrote those old texts didn't have a language for what they were trying to express. The parables gave us an insight into the effort he was making to take us there. And if you took it literally, you missed the point. So the whole concept I'm trying to get at here is that we need to study semantics ourselves. We should. Like I feel the need. I don't like this way, we need to this, we need to that. The word itself, need, we could. We have the option, if we wanted to progress forward in our use of the language to communicate more directly, is to look at this concept of semantics. And it's a big field to study. But the whole thing, I'm coming here this morning, I'm driving here, and this song came up on I have a memory stick in my stereo in the car. And this song came up, and I'm going, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was doing wrong, telling my story and holding myself trapped in my physical pain. And I need to let that go. And it's all about, what are you thinking about? Craig was saying, I don't want to think too much about tomorrow either. I want to live in the now. I want to be present. I want to experience what is happening right now.